streamers. In today's video, we are taking a look at the best way to farm gold, the fastest way to farm gold, whatever you want to call it. Before we get started, hit the subscribe button. We almost had 1,000 subscribers. Hit the like button just because, I don't know, because it's 2021. All right, so here we go. Two things I'm going to talk about that is super important that will help you get more gold when you are just out farming mobs and just doing tons of different things, just auto combating, whatever, doesn't matter where you are. Thing you're going to do is you're going to go over here to growth. We're going to look at our apostles. Now in the green section, the support section, you're going to go over here and we have two ones that are very important. Right here we have gold acquisition increase by a number. Of course, I think this is level 1, so it's 10. I believe if you have this at level 2, you have this at 2 stars right here, it'll be 20 plus 20 and so on and so forth. But this right here is very important. If you have any of these, do not, I repeat, do not combine them. Don't go into combine and combine them. Don't do it. Save them. You want to save your gold ones and your XP ones. Now, what you're going to do is you're not going to necessarily use them all the time. You specifically just use them when you're going to like do AFK farming, right? So if you're going up against your bosses, your PvP battles, you're doing even some story missions or something that, you know, you're going to want to prioritize your physical evade, magical evade, stuff like that. You're going to have those on. You're literally only going to put these on when you are going to be farming. Like I said, farming equipment dungeons, farming outside, farming monster cards, whatever. So make sure you keep these and then just switch them back and forth when you need them. I understand that it does cost gold to switch these out. It's a little bit of gold. It's okay. It's not going to break the bank. But it's just something to keep in mind. Keep those. They help a ton. Next up is equipment. You will see for your accessories, we have this accessory substat. Now some of them will give you a gold acquisition increase and some of them, as you can see, has an XP acquisition increase. Regardless, right? I have all heroics. These are my strongest. If you happen to get a heroic one, we'll say this one, we'll say XP acquisition, right? I have this one. If I was to get an ancient earring, obviously the ancient earring is better than this one, but it's still good to keep this because, again, when you're AFK farming, you might want to switch these and put this one on there. Again, the stats aren't going to really make a big difference. When you're farming and you're AFK and you're sleeping or you're working, you just want to get that extra experience buff, or you just want to get that extra gold being the main topic of this discussion. So you want to make sure you check out that accessory substat and keep it. You know, if it says gold increase, keep it and just switch it. All right, so then the next big thing that a lot of people ask is, what is the best place to farm, you know, for gold? So like, should I farm equipment dungeons or should I farm, you know, just like right here, just out in the open? All right, so this is gonna be like, there's a lot of different factors. Okay, there's a lot of different factors. What works for me might not work for you, again, because it depends on the character. I'm a Templar. You might well, I'm gonna give you an example of what has worked for me, but again, it may not work for you because you may be an archer, you may be a wizard. So things are different for people, especially the level. You may be at a higher level than me. You may be at a lower level than me. So there's a lot of different things that you have to take into consideration. You can't just sit here and be like, oh, this guy, Pistol Pete, he told me to do this and it didn't work out for me. Well, you know, you might be at a higher level than me, so it might be better for you to do something completely different. So what I came up with is, what worked for me is I noticed that when I was farming the equipment dungeons, specifically, I'm going to go over to the world. We're going to go over here. Specifically, the Ivan's Conquest right here, the B2, B floor. It doesn't really matter what floor, honestly. I noticed that when I would do one of these floors by myself, not in a party, just by myself, I was kind of struggling to really get gold. I really wasn't getting a lot of gold when I was doing this by myself. Now, when I was in a party, you know, with other members of my guild or just random people, I was getting some decent gold and I was getting a lot more equipment drops. So that is one thing that's super important and that I suggest. If you are going to farm as a party, equipment dungeons seem to be the best bet for gold. If you are going to solo farm, then it seems that just being out in the open, equipment dungeons may not necessarily be better, but just out in the open, regular areas would be better. And I've also noticed that if you're going against tougher enemies, again, this depends on if you have this set up. I have it set up. If we go and we look at our convenience functions, I have this set up so that it auto purchases potions. Okay? So the problem with this is when you're facing tougher enemies, specifically when you're farming and you're away from your computer, you're spending a lot of gold to get these auto potions. So your gold is getting eaten up. So it's not necessarily good to go against some stronger enemies, at least farm them, because half the time the computer, if you have it set up auto, it's going to be just draining your money just to keep buying potions to keep you and your soul linker alive. Of course, if you don't do that, you have a chance of waking up in the morning or coming back from work and your character's dead, and your character could have been dead for a couple hours and you don't even know. So that's one thing that's also important, that you go down to a little bit lower areas, right? So right now we're at Metum, level 100, right? We might want to go down to something like level 80, right? Level 80 might be better for us. We want to go to the SCAD area. So that's one thing that I just, again, it's just a suggestion. I'm sure people are going to come in here and give me hate and be like, you don't know what you're talking about, and that's fine. But I'm just saying that is what I've noticed. I noticed that just going down a little bit better. I mean, I'm not talking like you don't have to go down super low. I'm not talking like go down to like, you know, the level 1s and the level 20s. But just experiment. Go down to maybe level 80, depending on what level you are, and you'll see that you'll be able to farm them a lot quicker. You'll farm the monsters a lot easier because they're weaker, so you'll kill them a lot faster. You won't be using really hardly any gold to buy those potions to keep your characters alive. So all in all, it works out better than farming, you know, a high level area where the monsters are stronger and you're gonna be constantly buying potions. So I hope you guys get some tips and tricks. I hope that, you know, just helps out a little bit. But I love y'all. Stay happy, stay safe. And we're getting close to beating 1540. We got a video coming soon. How to beat 1540. I love y'all. Stay happy, stay safe. I'll see y'all very soon. Peace.